You're probably wondering what bread and butter has to do with the tech review, but with a 120Hz display, there's no way of me actually showing you how smooth it is. The best I can do to share this experience is using butter to describe the smoothness. The POCO X3 has a 120Hz display powered by the new Snapdragon 732G processor with 6GB of RAM, and it comes with a huge 5160 mAh battery with 33W fast charging that could charge from 0 to 65% in just 30 minutes, all at a small price of $200. This is by far the best and most impressive phone with such aggressive pricing in 2020, and I'm going to be taking you through my unboxing and first impressions of the POCO X3. So you get a black box with some yellow text. I love it, it's very simple and there's not too much write-up. On a side note, the POCO X3 has NFC. I'm not sure why this is really a big deal, but it's boldly written on the box, and Xiaomi calls it the POCO X3 NFC. Inside the box, you get the usual small box that houses the SIM ejector tool, the warranty, and the user guide that actually no one reads. I think for the sake of the environment, this should be removed. You also get a silicone case that will get you going before you buy a good case. And finally, you get the phone itself with some protective wraps. On the wrap, you can see the key specifications. You see the Snapdragon 732G, 120Hz display, and 64 megapixel quad camera setup, and a massive 5160 mAh battery. If you're still here, kindly consider subscribing to my channel. This will help me grow and encourage me to make more content like this. So back to the phone, let's put it aside for a second and see what else we have. As usual, you have a USB-C connector for charging, and finally you get a 33W charging brick that comes with some orange color in the USB port. Coming to the device itself, let's take off the wrap to reveal the device. Wow, take a look at that blue color. Xiaomi is actually calling it cobalt blue, but one thing is for sure, I love it, and this has to be my favorite color on a smartphone in 2020. On the right side, you have the side-mounted fingerprint sensor which doubles as a power button, and that's absolutely the best place to put a fingerprint sensor in my opinion. You also get a volume rocker right above that. At the bottom, you get a 3.5mm headphone jack, and I think this is not going away soon. You also get the USB-C connector, a microphone cutout, and the speaker grill. On the left side, you have the SIM card slot which houses a nano SIM and a micro SD card for storage expansion. At the top, you have an IR blaster, a second microphone cutout, a speaker grill that blends with the frame of the phone, and a cutout which I think is for cooling. At the front, you have the huge 6.5 inches display which has a 20 megapixel hole punch camera embedded in it. At the back, I'm not sure which is the first thing that catches your eye between the huge camera setup and the massive POCO branding. It's as if Xiaomi wants it to be the first thing anyone will notice when they see your phone. You have that 64 megapixel quad camera setup with the bump, of course. Let's put on the TPU case and see how it fits. So basically it fits very well. You have the fingerprint cutout and it's also raised so you no longer have to worry about the bump when you place your phone on a flat surface. Coming to the display, this is by far the most exciting feature of the POCO X3. And this is my first time using any 120Hz display and I cannot really explain the experience. The display is a 6.6 inches display, it's very large and I would say I've been loving it. It's a Full HD Plus IPS LCD display with a resolution of 1080p by 2400 and has Corning Gorilla Glass 5 protection with about 450 nits of brightness. For the past few days that I've been using it, I've really enjoyed it. When watching YouTube, it's really bright and sharp. With the 120Hz refresh rate, you get a really smooth scrolling experience. The fingerprint reader is a capacitive one, which means sometimes you might get in some accidental touches, but it's really not a big deal. I tried out the fingerprint reader and it's really snappy, and even with the animations, it's still fast. I'll take it over any in-display fingerprint reader any day. The POCO X3 runs on Android 10 out of the box, and you get the all-new MIUI 12, which has some pretty cool features like the control center. It also has a popular POCO launcher, which is the closest you get to stock Android. Even with the POCO launcher being light, you still get some ads and bloatware. For the bloatware, you can delete them, but for the ads, you will just have to live with it. For storage, I have the 64GB variant and about 49GB is usable. It's a UFS 2.1 storage, so you should not have any problems with file transfer. Coming to performance, with 6GB of RAM and the new Snapdragon 732G the POCO X3 has been performing really well and I've not experienced any issues yet. In an Antutu benchmark test, you get a total score of 272,610, which is about 95k for the CPU and 77,000 for the GPU. The 732G is basically a gaming processor and it has been doing very well. I've played a lot of games for hours and the experience has been tremendous. Watch out for my gaming test coming very soon. One feature that the POCO X3 boasts of is having a 5160 mAh battery with 33 watt fast charging. I would say that battery is a massive battery. I tried out the 33 watt fast charging and it's actually got me from 0 to 65 in 30 minutes, which is very impressive. Even with some heavy gaming and using the display at 120Hz refresh rate, I was able to get through a whole day with just 65% battery. I will test this out more and try to see the effect of 120Hz versus 60Hz refresh rate. So the camera, at the front you have a 20 megapixel selfie camera, at the back you get a 64 megapixel quad camera setup. You have the 64 megapixel main shooter, a 30 megapixel ultra wide camera, and a 2 megapixel macro and depth sensor, which I think should not exist in the first place. In the camera application, you have a lot of functionalities with photo and video. You also have some more options where you have things like night mode, 64 megapixel mode, time lapse, and others. One of the modes that I find interesting is the front and back mode where you can capture both cameras at the same time. Luckily for us, we have Gcam for the POCO X3 and I've been testing it out for a bit and the pictures for the Gcam are very impressive compared to the stock camera. I'll do a dedicated camera review very soon and we can check out the difference. Here are some of the few pictures I took. So that's it for the video guys. This is my quick review and first impressions of the POCO X3. I'll be using it as my daily driver and I'll come back with a full review. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.